I'm Kimberly.
Hello. I want to say, first of all, thank you for your good work. Thank you all for your generous time tonight. With the exposure that you have brought to light, with all this knowledge, I would just like to encourage all of us who are having this conversation that when we leave this room tonight, that with the knowledge comes responsibility. And I've heard a little bit of fear being thrown around in this room. And fear, as we know, is used by the opposing forces to create chaos and to control people. And so I'm just encouraging all of us, when we are talking about this stuff with others who may not be as well versed as many of you in this room, that we make it clear that when we talk about secret societies, which I think is the most unfortunate name for some of these groups, and I prefer the word esoteric, my background is metaphysics, that we do not categorize every single Mason as being satanic and demonic.
Absolutely.
Okay? We have many of our founding fathers who are Masons.
Most of them.
Yes. So let's remember that every single group on this planet has good and opposing forces working through them, including entertainment, which I was involved in for many years. So it's really about the individual. The ageless wisdom, which is what all the religions are based on, has always been and ever will be, is available to anyone who wants it. And when you're ready, it will appear in your life. A teacher or a teaching will appear. The issue becomes, do I have a pure enough heart to wield that energy? That's what happens when you get people who don't have pure hearts getting access into this kind of information, like the Masonic information. Some people, when they start out, they have good intention. But then when they get taste of the power or the supposed power, that's when they can turn. So it's really an individual thing. So let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. So I get very concerned when I hear people say, oh, the Masons, well, you know, they're this, they're this. That's not the case. There's too much fear going on in our society. The world is not ending. It's the end of an age, not the end of the world. Armageddon was about an end of an age, not the end of the world. We have got to stop talking in all this fear-based language. There is nothing catastrophic that's going to be happening. Yes, but it is a world of appearances. And the question is, how do we want to respond to those appearances? Quit focusing on what you don't want and focus what you do want. There's a divine plan for this planet. We're not going anywhere, guys. There are people who think they have control over you. Let them think what they want. It's not the truth. You can step outside of that. Raise your consciousness and step outside of that control pattern. It's not real. That's what I want to share with you.
You know,
I would just like to say just one thing, though. You know, there's 70% of the species on the planet are threatened right now. Almost all of the waterways are polluted. There are very, very serious problems we're facing, and I think we can't just be Pollyanna-ish about it. We must face.
That's not my message.
I know that,
but Kimberly, I'm really glad you brought those points up, because I agree with you almost 100%. What Mike and I have tried to do is to make very clear that, and when Ken and I, remember Ken is a 32nd degree Mason. That was a real plus, because we're able to run a lot of this by him and have him check certain things. And that's how we found out that Ron Howard, before he made Apollo 13, in just a few days had to go to a Master Mason level before they allowed him to make that propaganda film, Apollo 13. We're talking about original Masonry, an original mystery school designed to preserve crucial truths that are essential for the edification and elevation of the human race. And then we're talking about usurpers. We're talking about pirates. We're talking about people who took over, the power mongers. So you have to separate the real guys who created this marvelous, incredible experiment called the United States of America. I mean, Jay and I walked among these monuments. You cannot walk through Washington, D.C. and see this incredible geometry, this tetrahedral geometry over and over again in all the public buildings, in the alignments and layout of the monument, of the obelisk, of the Capitol, of the Lincoln Memorial, without knowing that there was profound wisdom, because this is, as Lincoln said, the last best hope of mankind. NASA was supposed to be an extension of that, and it has been taken over by the usurpers. Our job, our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to take it back for everyone on Earth.